Hello, and welcome back to Earthy Remedy. Let's take a gentle breath together. Settle in and soften your shoulders as we wander into tonight's quiet kitchen ritual. I'm Earthy Remedy, speaking slowly and warmly, and with me is Sam Nang Bradley, my co-host and fellow nature guide.
Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. Let's explore this natural ingredient together. Tonight's seed companion is black sesame. I can almost smell its toasted, nutty warmth just thinking about it.
We'll be moving through 3 small, accessible practices you can try this evening. A tiny toasted black sesame paste you can fold into yogurt or spread on toast, a warming sesame milk to sip slowly after dinner, and a mild, well-diluted sesame oil scalp massage meant as an occasional sensory ritual. These are simple, non-medical practices, gentle ways to connect your kitchen to your quiet moments.
Before we begin, a calm reminder. Sesame is a common allergen. If you know you're allergic, or if you've never tried sesame before, skip these practices and check with a healthcare professional. We'll also walk through small test batches and patch tests for topical use, so you can try this with care.
Now, imagine the seed for a moment. Black sesame is small and glossy, a little jewel from the pantry. It carries a deep, toasty aroma when warmed, and its oil is rich and golden. You'll find it sold as whole seeds, as a ready-made paste, or as a cold-pressed oil. Small producers and food-grade labeling are lovely to look for. They often mean fresher flavor and gentle processing.
I love that description. Here's a simple sourcing tip. If you can, buy a small jar of whole seeds and store them in the fridge or a cool pantry spot. Whole seeds toast better and keep their aroma longer than pre-ground pastes. And for oil, choose a clearly labeled cold-pressed food-grade sesame oil if you'll use it on skin or in food.
There's a small memory I like to carry with this seed, a micro-story. Once, a neighbor showed up at dusk with a tiny jar of homemade sesame paste, the lid still warm from the kitchen. She shrugged and said, "Just a little something to make your toast feel like home." We stood on the stoop, sharing a sliver of bread, and that tiny jar became a soft evening ritual for both of us.
That feels like the perfect anchor, how small offerings turn into habits. And practically, you can stir a spoonful into yogurt, fold it into porridge, or use it as a finishing note on roasted vegetables. Or make a warming milk to sip when you want to slow down after dinner.
Practical use. A tiny toasted sesame paste. Let's walk through it slowly so it's easy to follow. You'll need 2 tablespoons of whole black sesame seeds, a dry skillet, a small spice grinder or mortar and pestle, and a clean small jar for storage. Toasting is the step that unlocks the aroma, but it's gentle work. Low to medium heat, constant stirring, and a watchful ear for that deep, nutty scent.
Start by warming your skillet over low heat, no oil. Add the seeds in an even layer and keep them moving. You're looking for a subtle change, better slightly under-toasted than burnt.
When the seeds are fragrant and slightly glossy, let them cool a moment, then grind them to a coarse paste. You don't need a fine tahini here, just enough to release some oil and make a spreadable texture. For an easily spoonable paste, you can add a teaspoon of warm water or a neutral oil as you grind. Transfer to a small jar and store in the fridge for up to 2 weeks. Use a teaspoon at a time. A little goes a long way.
Serving idea. Fold 1 teaspoon into plain yogurt with a drizzle of honey and a scatter of sliced banana. It's quiet, tactile, and comforting. A little evening ritual that doesn't require time or fuss.
Practical use. Warming black sesame milk. This is a cozy, low-effort drink. You'll need 1 tablespoon of your toasted sesame paste, 1 cup of plant milk, almond, oat, or your favorite, a small saucepan, and a gentle sweetener if you like. Combine paste and milk over low heat and whisk until smooth. Warm until just steaming. You don't want it to boil. Taste, then add a touch of sweetener, a pinch of salt, or a whisper of cinnamon if that calls to you.
Serving notes, sip slowly. Aim for a soothing temperature, about the warmth of a soft bath rather than hot tea. This is less about caffeine or stimulation and more about closing the day with a tactile, nourishing pause.
And now, practical use C, mild sesame oil hair massage. Let's be very clear, this is a cosmetic, sensory practice. If you have known sesame allergy, skip this. Always start with a small patch test on the inner forearm and wait 24 hours. If there's no reaction, choose a food-grade, cold-pressed sesame oil. For a gentle scalp massage, dilute 1 part sesame oil with 2 parts a lighter oil like jojoba or sweet almond, or use a small dab of oil alone if your skin tolerates it.
To perform the massage, warm a teaspoon of the diluted oil between your palms. Then use your fingertips to make slow, circular motions at the scalp for 3 to 5 minutes. Keep it brief. This is sensory and calming, not a deep therapeutic treatment. Afterward, you can leave it on overnight and shampoo in the morning, or rinse gently after 30 minutes if you prefer. If the scalp feels irritated or residue builds up, reduce frequency or stop.
A few sourcing and safety reminders before we pause. Check labels for food grade and cold pressed on oils. Buy whole seeds in small batches for freshness, and always avoid high heat when toasting to prevent bitterness or smoke. If you're pregnant, nursing, or on medications, or if you have sensitive skin, please consult a healthcare provider about topical or ingestible new ingredients.
And an easy patch test reminder, apply a pea-sized drop of diluted oil to the inner forearm, wait 24 hours, and check for any redness, itching, or swelling. If anything shows up, don't use it on your scalp or near mucous membranes.
Let's take a brief nature-inspired reflection. Close your eyes if you're able. Imagine warm fields where small hands gather seeds into woven bowls. Picture the glossy black of the sesame against the warm brown of wooden spoons. Breathe in slowly, the memory of toasting. A soft, nutty warmth fills the air. Let this slow image hold you for a few quiet breaths.
When you open your eyes, consider one small habit to try tonight. Make 1 teaspoon of toasted sesame paste and fold it into your evening yogurt, or warm a small cup of sesame milk to sip as you settle for the night. Simple repetition builds the ritual.
3 gentle practices. Toast and grind 2 tablespoons of seeds into a tiny paste for the pantry. Warm 1 tablespoon in a cup of plant milk for a slow sip. And after a successful patch test, try a brief diluted sesame oil scalp massage as an occasional sensory ritual. Small portions, safe steps, and gentle frequency are the keys.
Before we close, a quick troubleshooting note. If your sesame paste tastes bitter, you likely toasted it too long or at too high heat. Start again with a small batch and keep the pan moving on low heat. If a topical massage leaves you feeling greasy, reduce the amount and rinse sooner next time.
Here's a simple habit to try tonight. Take just 1 teaspoon of toasted sesame paste, fold it into your yogurt or porridge, and take 3 slow breaths as you taste it. Let it be a small, grounding moment. Nothing to fix, only to notice.
If you try any of these practices, we'd love to know which felt most like home to you. Share a gentle note or a photo where you listen. And if you're keeping a small pantry journal, jot down how each batch smelled and how it made you feel.
Thank you for spending this quiet time with us. If you enjoyed this little seed story and the step-by-step ideas, please subscribe for more nature-inspired rituals. Follow the show so these calm practices can find their way into your evenings. Let nature guide us today, and remember our signature cue. Let's take a gentle step into nature's wisdom.
Good night, friends. Try one small sesame habit this week, and be kind to yourself as you learn. See you next time.